Welcome to part 33 of Basic Training. Today we're officially moving on to the bonus tracks and I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to play Yoshi Circuit on 150cc. In particular, there are 3 shortcuts that look fairly straightforward to execute at first glance, but are all actually pretty difficult to execute in ways that save time. So let's jump straight on into the guide and figure out how they work. For Yoshi Circuit, I'm going to recommend our usual try-hard build. Things start off rough and pretty much stay there for the whole race. After the rocket boost at the start, we're going to chain a super mini turbo into a neutral hop over the gap. You likely won't be able to clear the grass entirely, so when you land in a right drift and use your mushroom as soon as you hit the ground. The mushroom will run out just before you get to the ramp, but if you build up a mini turbo, you can use that boost to give you just enough speed to still trick off the ramp and make it to the other side. Now there's a lot going on with this shortcut, so let's break it down a bit further. To make the gap jump, it's important to keep your joystick in a neutral position when doing the jump, and make sure to do it just before your front tires get into the off-road. Assuming you made the gap jump, the most important part of this shortcut is the mini turbo. If you don't get it, you'll fall into the water below. But the timing on this is really tight, so when you start that right drift, you're going to have to hold right for just a little bit to help charge the mini turbo. Ideally, you want to be soft drifting and then holding down a hard left so that you don't land too far into the off-road on the right-hand side of the track. The last thing to point out is the timing of the final left drift when coming out of the shortcut. As far as I can tell, it's basically frame perfect. You need to hop on the frame that you land in the off-road, otherwise you'll get a bit of slowdown that can cost you multiple tenths of a second per lap. So yeah, doing the mushroom cut itself isn't that bad, but it can be very frustrating to learn just due to how precise it is. So if it's giving you a lot of trouble, you can just drift around the first turn and then delay the use of your mushroom a little bit, which is obviously going to be a bit slower, but a lot less risky. Once we pass that shortcut, we're going to build up a super mini turbo into an ultra mini turbo in the tunnel while grabbing all the coins, and make our way to the next difficult shortcut. It's not really difficult per se, it's just inconsistent. After the ultra mini turbo, build up a mini turbo and then start a right drift. Hug the turn as tightly as possible, and then start holding left to widen your drift angle once you start coming out of the straightaway. You're going to build up a super mini turbo quickly, but you don't want to release it right away. Instead, wait till you get until just about this little corner of the red and white track barrier on the left, and then release it. This is because we're going to neutral jump over this large patch of grass to the right hand side of the Piranha plant, and if your super mini turbo runs out too quickly, you won't be able to make the jump. After that, grab the coin on the other side of the grass patch, and then prepare for what has to be one of the most annoying things to do in the entire game. We're going to hop over this little patch of grass in between the 2 tires, land in the left drift on the left hand side of the track, build up a mini turbo, and then build up an ultra mini turbo around the subsequent right turn. The problem is that you can't build up the ultra mini turbo if you come out of the shortcut at a weird angle, because you need to soft drift the entire time. But the problem is that getting the shortcut at all, let alone whether or not you get it and come out at a good angle, is more or less entirely random. What I do is start the left drift prior to the shortcut, and I try to aim for the gap in between the 2 tires. Then, I wait until just after getting onto the grass and do a neutral hop, and then land in the left drift. There's not much more to the setup than that, but, like I said, I've had some very high-level players tell me that it's basically RNG, so good luck. To finish up lap 1, we're going to do this cute little hop over the grass and then finish it up with a super mini turbo. That little hop is much easier if you build up an ultra mini turbo on the previous turn, but it's definitely doable without it. After that, we're on to lap 2, and it's basically just the same as lap 1, except for the turn after the shortcut. With 10 coins, you just don't have enough time to reliably build up an ultra mini turbo and still take good lines when coming out of the tunnel. So instead, after building up the first super mini turbo and going into the tunnel, just do a right hop into a right neutral drift to build up a super mini turbo before coming out of the tunnel. And that's pretty much it for my PB strat, so let's talk about the world record a bit. They actually play everything pretty similarly to what you've just watched. They use Baby Daisy instead of Waluigi, and as we've seen countless times before, that makes their mini turbos more powerful. Really though, there are 3 main differences in strategy between my run and the world record run. The first is that in the tunnel, they build up an ultra mini turbo on all 3 laps. Second is that annoying grass shortcut, where they basically just hold the drift throughout the entire cut, and then build up a super mini turbo. The last difference is that they build up an ultra mini turbo at the end of the lap on laps 1 and 2. On lap 3, they just build up a super mini turbo instead. Now let's check out my current personal best while I talk a bit more about the track. And by the way, if you found the video helpful so far, please do me a favor and click the like button, since this helps the video get spread to other people looking to improve at the game, which really helps the channel out a lot. Now, Yoshi Circuit. I'm not sure if I'd describe this course as hard as much as inconsistent. Well, It is hard in the sense that all the alternating left and right drifts make this one a hand killer in the same vein as Sherbetland, but that's not what makes this course awful to time trial. No, that honor has to go to the shortcuts you need to learn. The Waterfall shortcut and Grass shortcut, and even the Gap cut at the very start of the lap, are really annoying to do properly, and all three of them have the potential to absolutely ruin your run. For some context, my current fastest time on this track is a 1:47.6. I haven't managed to get anywhere near this in the probably 30 or so attempts I've made since then. In fact, I haven't even been able to get within about half a second of my lap 1 just because of that damned Waterfall shortcut at the beginning. Point being that this course can be incredibly frustrating to time trial because once you learn the basics, 90% of your time loss is going to come from things that you basically have next to no control over. And honestly, I don't even really recommend spending that much time trying to learn the strats anyways, because above a certain race rating online, by far the most common way for people to play the track is to just hang out in the back and try and grab power items. That's because this course has what's called a bullet bill extension, meaning that if you use your bullet bill just before going into the tunnel, it'll last pretty much all the way past the annoying grass cut. So what people will do is abuse this mechanic and keep re-rolling items until they get bills or lightnings. And what this means is that even if you are a world record holder on this track, it's overwhelmingly likely that you're going to get beat by someone who purposely played like garbage until the very end of lap 2. So yeah, in summary, the shortcuts are awful, the course murders your hands, and at the end of the day it doesn't matter anyways because of the broken item system in this game. But the course is shaped like a Yoshi, so that's cool, I guess. And that's everything you need to know to play Yoshi Circuit on 150cc. It's another course that's very difficult to master, but fortunately if you're just trying to get better for online play, even if you do mess up some of the strats, there's a ton of comeback potential, which might be one of its few saving graces. If you found this video helpful, once again don't forget to drop a like, and also let me know down in the comments what kind of time you're able to get, and whether there are any other parts of the course that you found particularly frustrating. Thank you all very much for taking the time out of your day to do some basic training, and as always, I will see you in the next one.